Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm working on the bear claw quilt. I had extra fabric left over from my last quilt, so I decided to go ahead and make this one. I needed a new rotary cutter and Amazon just delivered this. I was so excited. My last one lasted 4 years. I will put a link to this in the description along with all my other favorites if you are interested. I start out with 2.5-inch strips. You're going to need a few rulers here. I have a 12-inch and then my 2.5-inch ruler, which I love. This is what it will take to do the block. I have the 6.5-inch, two 4.5-inch, and these are all 2.5-inch squares. And for the 6.5, I just line that up and cut that. You're going to need 4 of these for each block. You could finger press them, but I really wanted the line to be crisp, and so I decided just to go ahead and do this. And I just have a basket of them. I find it really helpful when you're sewing several blocks to just get them prepared. Pull a little table next to your sewing machine and then you're all ready to go. I'm going to start out by sewing 2 blocks together so I can chain piece. The 6.5, 2 4.5s, and then I have my 2.5-inch squares. The amount of fabric that you use really depends on how big you make the quilt. You can make it any size you want, which is what I love about quilting. And I use a lot of my fabric scraps. Now I'm going to add my 4.5-inch block. Now it is time to snowball the corners. I actually find this part rather fun. You just put it on like you want to match up the other white block and sew on that line. And then before you leave the sewing machine, I always cut off the extra right there. I have a wastebasket ready to catch it. You can see how uneven this is, but just watch the magic. This takes all the hard work out of it. It looks hard, but it really isn't. And now it is time to add the 4.5-inch rectangle. My blocks measured 6 1/4 inch. What I did when I trimmed them up was with the pointed side, I just wanted to make them even. I didn't want to remove the points. Where I take the bulk of the block off to make sure they're all even is the side that it doesn't matter on the other side. You'll see what I do here. The main goal is to just make sure all your squares are even. I really like how this turned out. You could go ahead and cut these ahead of time so you have a bunch. I, for some reason, like to do it the hard way. So these are cut at 6 1/4 and then added on. And then you're gonna just wanna make sure your block is even by taking off those little edges. If you ever do an Irish chain quilt, you will get really good at this. This is the most important part as far as I'm concerned in quilting. To get these points just right, to make sure they nest right next to each other. Once you get that, you are golden in the quilting world. My finished block measured 14 1/4. You just want to make sure whatever block you do, it's even, just like before. It is really nice to have a design wall because you can put it up on the wall, you can look at it, you can stand back and decide if you want to change it in any way. I love adding white in between squares. I've always done it that way. I really probably should try some color, but I just love how the white looks. And that is what I'm going to do now. Getting them even can be tricky, but this works so well. If you pull that back and just make sure those seams line up and then pin it, you should be good to go. Here I am just measuring to see how much white it is going to take to do the back and if I have enough. Once you get the back ready to go, I take it and tape it to the floor. This seems to be the best place when the quilt is bigger than your table. I am using warm and natural batting. I will put a link to that in the description if you're interested in that. I also wanted to add this basting spray because I cut it a little close on the edges, and this would ensure that it was not going to move. And then it was time to do the binding. I really enjoy hand sewing the binding on. There's something very relaxing about it. And I do really like the look of it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't subscribed and hit the like button.